Java and then jar file. And make sure this export Java source files and resources is also checked.
So that's the only one we need to check?
I think so.
What's this for, to send it to you?
Yeah.
Right, what'd you do? Could you do that again real quick?
Now you pay attention.
Can you show us how to make one of these executable?
Yeah, we'll do that today.
Okay.
Try. So I highlight the project. I'm going to go File, Export. Under the Java folder, look for jar file. Then click on Next. Check the box that says Export Java source file and resources.
What's the runnable jar
Yeah,
file?
there's a one that said runnable.
What's that?
Yeah, that's new for this version of Eclipse, so we'll check that out today. Then you browse for the location you want to put it. Like I'm going to put it on the desktop. I'll call it jar. And then finish. What do we got here? Oh. It just says, are you sure you want to export this jar? You have warnings. All right. And then that should be it. So I should now have a file somewhere here.
It's at the
There,
bottom.
right there. That is a file you can turn in. All right, I was going to make a little change here to stage, because we have a method in here called set targets, right there. And what it does is it just puts in 3 or 4 targets that are what are called hard-coded in there, so it's never going to change. I want to be able to add my own targets to this. So when I create a stage, I can just say add a target, add a target, add a target, and those are the targets it uses. So I need a new method here called public void add target, and we'll have it take in 2 numbers, an x and a y. And then it just says targets.add new gPoint x. X, comma, y. And it looks like do something like, let me think about this. So I see that set targets creates an array list and then returns that. And then where does that go? Goes into targets. What else? Targets, set targets. Think about that. Points, targets. See, the reason why I wanted to set targets every time is because I end up removing the targets from the stage. So I need to put them back when I'm done. So that's why I have this method called set targets. I think this will work. Any errors? factoring business is tough. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set it up so that when I get done evolving a creature that can find the 3 or 4 targets on the screen, it's then going to give me back the best one that it found. I then want to rerun that same creature but with a different set of targets and see if it can find the food. So I'm trying to get it so that I can, rather than having a fixed set of 4 targets, I can just specify my own target. So I can run it with 4 targets and then get the best one and then run it with just 1 target and see if you can find that one. So in other words, if I got the stage here, here's some food and it ends up finding all of them. Did it find these 3 targets simply by luck?
Yes.
In other words, did it just learn that in order to get these 3 pieces of food, it needs to go this way 100 steps and then turn to the right 50 steps and then go this way 100 steps. So if I were to move this one over here, would it just follow the same path or would it actually find that one? Which creature is more likely to survive in the long term?
They can find this food again and again.
It's the one that can find food no matter where it is on the screen. If I just have a creature that always follows the same path every time,
But we would have to have that method in there that allows them to learn, right?
that's what the whole evolve does.
Where's evolve at?
It says stage.
On stage?
Yeah. It's the one that starts out with 100 random ones, tries them all, finds the best.
No, I thought we had to make one of the operators that was able to make a choice, make a decision.
Yeah, that's going to be key in this.
Yeah, you would need to have that.
You need to have that. If you don't have that, it's always just going to follow the same path.
I need to get that.
So we need one where it can make a choice. Like if I'm looking at food, I need to go toward it. If I'm not looking at food, I need to do something else.
And how does that thing work again?
What?
The sensor sees a number, right, and it inputs that number into the equation.
Yeah, so it has a 20-degree field of view, 10 degrees on either side of straight. And if it is pointed straight at one of the targets, the sensor reads 0. You are like basically 0 degrees off axis. If the food is off to the left, I think it reads a negative number, and if it's off to the right, it reads a positive number. And then if it's not looking at it at all, I think it just reads 100.
What does it do with that number, though?
That's the number that gets plugged into your...
So my X?
Yeah.
Okay, so my X is no longer going to be random, it's going to be based off that. No.
Never was random.
So the,
It used to be,
Oh,
a long
what
time
was
ago,
one,
it was the number of steps it had taken.
Oh, okay,
Now-
so like, if I'm on step 20, based off that decision, it's going to be a negative 20 or a positive 20?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
Now, right now, the number being plugged in has nothing to do with how far you walk. It has only to do with what you see in front of you,
Which way to go?
essentially.
and it's from -10 to 10, right?
Yeah.
Or 100?
I think it reads 100 if it's off. Maybe it's 10.
So that method would only go into the variable class.
Mm-hmm.
It actually wouldn't be a method, it would be part of the,
So that's why, that's why your creature needs the concept of variables. It needs, ideally, a way to make a decision, and then a variety of other operators. So let me think about this setting targets thing. This is what I thought about driving here. Oh yeah, I should change it. I'll just change it in a few minutes before class. It won't be hard. Yeah, it is. That's weird. Well, so let me show you something else while I think about that. How how many of you discovered in doing this project that you end up copying and pasting a lot of code? Where was an example of that?
Add, divide, replace,
Yeah.
count, get.
I mean, copy and paste as in, you copied it out of one, you pasted the other, and then you were done. There was nothing that changed. The code was an exact duplicate of something that was.
Like,
Yeah, for
equals.
all the binaries, if it was add, all of them, add, multiply, divide.
So let's look at add here.
Well, add you have to change a little bit for some things,
If you
but
have left and right, I used left and right, so every one was the same. The only one that was different was to shrink.
I mean, you can just
Was that
normally
different?
copy and
That's
paste
that.
and
Yeah. So I'm talking about something that's exactly the same. Like
equals.
Yes.
Equals?
Equals. No, well, I changed in a couple of them. Oh yeah, with the add, yeah.
I don't know how to do it.
Get?
Get?
Yeah, get looks like a,
Get is exactly the same between them.
yeah.
There's nothing in here that's special to an add. How about random expression?
I don't have that in my
I
add.
don't have that either, I don't think.
Are we supposed to have that in our add?
How about replace?
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly the same. Mutate?
I don't know.
I'm showing you the whole solution here, right? What is my solution to be?
Can you go back
It's
to
on video,
mutate
right?
and clone?
Yes.
That's okay, let's go faster.
Yeah.
Just-
You just blow your video. Shine a laser into that.
And the thing does is posting things, so it's really hard to.
Yeah, in fact, if you guys turned like these lights off, it would look a lot better.
Well,
What is it, the DSP or whatever, the way the projector works?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just noticed it shows up a lot better in the dark.
So these three classes, add, bulk, and divide, all implement expression. So they all do the same things, but the ways they do it are slightly different. Like when you want to eval and add, you have to actually add things, you use plus. When you want to eval and bulk, you use times. When you want to do divide, div, you do divide. But there are some things that they do that are exactly the same, like count, get, replace, and you can literally copy and paste the code from one class to another with no change whatsoever, which is kind of a pain, because if you do find a bug in one of them, what do you gotta do?
change all of them.
You gotta go change all of them.
But if you get one to work, you just copy and paste it, you know they're gonna work.
Yeah, but still, you know, it's kind of like, oh, I thought it was working, so I copied and pasted it, and then I found a problem, and now I gotta go back and change it. So what we wanna do is add a new layer here. Let's migrate up into this new layer all the stuff that's common to these three. All the stuff that's exactly the same. All three of these, add, multiply, divide, they're all basically instances of what kind of thing? Binary operator. Because for all the binary operators, add, multiply, divide, things like get are exactly the same. Now, is get different for a unary operator?
Yeah.
Yes. Is it different for a trinary operator?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same for count? Same for replace? So I can have another layer here called unary op, and what would be below that one? Unary operators, constants and variables are not unary
Like
operators.
log, sine,
Yeah,
cosine.
log, sine. cells, but nevertheless, those are instances of what are called terminals. Okay, so we're adding a new layer to the hierarchy. We're going to move into this layer all the stuff that's common to these, the copy and paste stuff, and the differences, the thing that makes an add unique from a multiply, just go down in here. So things like eval stay here because those are different, but things like get and count move up into here. So it means that if you find a problem with count, you only have to change it in one place. All these others will pick it up. Alright, so this is an interface. So what do these things have to be? Can they be interface? Can they be a class? I guess the question is, can interface implement another interface?
Why not?
I would say so, sure.
No.
Just being different, huh?
Maybe not like you want.
Let's try.
I said no.
You're going with no?
I'm going no.
I don't see the point.
What does that mean? I don't see the point.
Because in your interface, you just say what the method is going, the requirement for the method doesn't actually have the guts of the method.
Right.
So,
Will you just let him do this thing?
I would.
No, you gotta
He's teaching.
think about these things. Interface that implements.
I'm sure you could do it, I just don't see the point. That's all.
So it turns out interface cannot implement an interface.
But it can implement an abstract class, right?
No.
Sounded good. Everybody else?
You're just throwing out terms and
Just throwing out terms I don't even really understand.
So then you have to make it a class, right?
It has to be
Velocity of the
class.
tangent.
And then the things below it, you just extend the class above it. We do that.
Right. So binary op is going to implement expression, which means it needs an add and all those things. So we'll say add unimplemented methods. So here's eval, count,
So how do you do that?
mutate. You want to see that again?
I want that.
That's kind of.
So I said binary operator implements expression, and it says, and you're going to get some errors because you didn't implement all those methods that the interface says you have to do.
Right.
So Eclipse says, hey, you got all these errors.
Here's a way to fix them all.
Here's how you can fix it by adding all the methods that you need.
Does it all for you too, right? No, just return.
Programming 101.
Return null, return 0.
So at least it will compile now. It won't do the right stuff. And it puts this little to-do item here. It says, you need to fix this.
What's that mean?
That actually shows up in your to-do list, right? That one, that frame that I had you close. Anything that's tagged with this to-do comment shows up in your to-do list. Things that you need to do.
So if we put that in there, we can jump into that folder, I guess you say?
Yeah. I don't remember how to bring that back though. Okay. Once I close a pane, I don't know.
Eclipse has way more options than BlueJ.
They have like an Eclipse class here. Like just a
A
class
whole
to teach
class.
it. Like IDEs, like there's a
There's
Word
like a ton of
class and
videos
things like
online.
that.
It's like taking a woodworking class and saying, I need to know how to use one. I need a Makita class, a DeWalt class. I need a class on using DeWalt.
It'd be hard to stretch that out to 16 weeks.
We're just like an IDE in general class, like exposure, or like soft exposure to a whole bunch of different IDEs and languages.
Why don't we consider this motivation to learn on your own? All right, so binary operator is going to implement expression. Now I can go into add and I can pluck out the stuff that I know is the same. Like, here's mutate, that's exactly the same. Let's go over here. And we'll find mutate, and we'll paste that in.
It's like more work.
What's also the same between add and multiply is
Good place.
they have a left and a right.
That is true.
Good.
But now you have to sum the public, right?
No?
Oh, okay.
What else is the same? Eval's different, toString is different, depth is the same.
What is
Yeah.
two strings, two string isn't that the same size as that one symbol?
I'll count.
What we got here? Oh, apparently that's one that's unique to add. I was playing around. Count is the same, that's what I was looking for. Let's see, mutate we did, replace is the same. So this is just my solution to the problem, not necessarily yours. Get, that's the same. Oh, here's depth. Does this work yet? No. Clone. I just had that one error. Oh, I need a method called clone. Is that in here? Here it is. Oh. Clone is different. Where is clone? Clone, clone, clone. Where's the one? That's because this needs a clone, right?
Already got one.
I already have one? Oh, there it is.
You didn't copy it, huh?
It's because clone is actually
Should be right above mutate.
not there. Because clone is actually inherited from object. So let's add it in. Public, expression, clone, and then it just does nothing. What does the clone return?
An expression.
An expression? Method must return a type of. What does it? Oh, return. Something. All right. Are we good so far? So I moved into here all the stuff that's common to all the binary operators. I left eval alone because eval is different between the two of them. I left toString alone. In fact, let's see, eval's in there. Where's toString?
override, what does it do?
It's just it does two things. One is it tags a method to remind you that this is overriding another one from the interface. And also, when you generate the documentation for this, it in the documentation says this method overrides, so it actually gives you a little description of the method it's overriding. So it does two things. It just tags it for you to let you know what's
So
happening.
it's not gonna affect to the program at all?
No, I could take those out if I wanted. Okay, so now let's go into add. And so add is no longer going to implement expression. It's now going to extend binary operator. Now I can strip out of add everything that binary operator takes care of. So let's go through here. What can I remove from here?
Private.
No.
These. I can remove those because binary operator has them in there.
But do you have to have it for all the methods?
So when I extend a class, it brings in all the stuff from there. So it already has all those things. All you have to do is add on the stuff that's unique to an add.
So it doesn't even need left and right?
Nope, because it inherits those from binary operator. I still need the constructor. Constructors are unique to a specific class.
Without difference, so leave it there. String.
Okay, eval is unique, toString is unique, depth is the same, take that out, count is the same, take it out, clone is unique, mutate is, replace is the same, get is the same, and equals is unique. Okay, so I think we've got some errors here. And it says, I don't know what left is. And we took it out, right? Let's see if we can fix that.
I think you're missing an R in binary.
Does it need to be public?
Oh, binary.
For himself.
Field binary operator is not visible. Okay, so I think I know how to fix this. And that is, oops, over here.
Oh, there it is.
Well,
Yeah,
also
that
your
class I was
binary
mentioning,
op
guys.
class is spelled wrong. It's called binary op.
Where?
Like they're the actual class itself of binary op, the class. Right there. Yeah. I don't see an R. Is there an R there? That might help.
Did that fix it? No? So I think what we do,
Point out all the stops today.
there, I fixed it. Okay, so what does protected mean? Have you seen protected before?
No.
Does that mean you can't change it within that class?
Protected means it's not public, it's not private, it's somewhere in the middle. Private means no one from outside of the class can touch it. Public means everyone from outside the class can touch it. Protected means it's private to itself and private to any classes that extend it. It makes sense?
Which means like log or sign can't get
Right,
that.
log and sign can't touch it, but all of the add, multiplies, and divides can see it. So kind of think about binary operator here as being the parent of these three, and so all of its children get to see what the parent can do, and the parent has all the children get access to everything the parent can get access to, sort of like in this household here, but they can't touch anything that's in another household over here, another family. Yeah.
I
How do you know it's just protected to those three as opposed to everything else?
That's how it works.
Because it's a standard binary operator. Because the add, the device and the other class is the this class. That's why only
Right.
those three can accept, can
Add
use the left and right.
extends binary operator,
Right.
so that means that add has access to everything that binary operator has.
Right. But
So-
if only those three are extending binary operator, then why do the other ones need to have the protector to get protected? That comes.
They'll need their own, so I'll make another class called unary operator, another one called terminal, and they'll have their own set of protected variables. So everyone in this family has a left and a right. And so by extension, these do too, because they inherit everything the binary operator has. Unary operator, for me, only has I call it an expression, the one single child. So the ones over in this family won't be able to see the things over here. So it's only sort of the direct descendants of this class will be able to see that.
And I have a question about the public abstract class. So when you put it there, what does it do?
Oh, abstract?
Yeah.
Okay, good question. So an abstract class is one that you can never actually create an object from directly. There would be no reason for me to create an object of binary operator. Go back to when we were talking about dogs with pugs and Dalmatians and Labradors, right? So I would never want to create an object of dog. I only want to create objects of pug and Dalmatian and Labrador. So putting the word abstract on here prevents me from actually saying, binary op B equals new binary op, because the binary operator itself is just this sort of abstract concept of a thing that has a left and it has a right. It knows how to count, but it doesn't know how to evaluate. Because the only way to know how to evaluate is to know specifically what kind of binary operator it is. So just putting the word abstract on here just prevents me from, or prevents another programmer from actually instantiating this as an object. Sort of makes it a generic class. It itself can't do anything useful. Only if you extend it and then modify the pieces that you need to modify, do you make something useful out of it. All right, so someone said it seems like a lot of work.
No, I didn't mean it like, now, right now, it seems like a lot of work, but you were doing it at the point where like, when you were doing the planning stage, you'd be like, well, add, divide, multiply, and all that's gonna happen, now let's do this right now.
Yeah. So yeah, it's work now because now you gotta move stuff in, but in the long run, if this was an ongoing project you were working with a lot of other people, this would be a better design decision to make, because now the code that was duplicated is now only in one place.
It would be good to do this early on rather than have to translate it over at this point.
Right. But I get the feeling that had I shown this to you, you would have gone, yeah, right. That seems like a lot of work to create a bunch of extra classes. But it's kind of like at the point where you realize, holy smoke, I'm copying and pasting code. I need to actually create a new level in my hierarchy to simplify things. That's the point. That would have been the right point to do it.
I was thinking that we could just make a new class, and then each add or whatever, they just call that class that has those extra operators, those extra methods. Could that work?
I didn't quite follow.
Like, what if I just had a class, another class, that had get, count, replace, and then just have add, just call that.
That's essentially kind of what we're doing.
I know, but I was thinking that might work.
Yeah, so you're already kind of thinking on the right track, that you'd like to take those common functions and move them somewhere else
Yeah.
and just call them from, have a central place to call them. So that's kind of essentially what we're doing here, but we're doing it through inheritance, rather than making sort of a side call off to another one and having it do the
I was
work.
also thinking that, you could even do two-string. What you would have to do is just make sure that with the method that you're passing the operator that you want to.
Oh, genericized two-string, where you just pass in.
You pass in the plus and then it splits the plus for you or the minus. Because they're all the same, the plus, the add, subtract. That one's also the same, you'll be able to differentiate.
Yeah.
You know which one it is, you can even add that one.
But sure, you could even, yeah.
Do a vowel too, because that's just,
You could do something like, if, this instance of add, print out the thing with the plus, else, if it's instance of div, print out the thing with the sign.
no, I'm saying pass something and its parameter to it. Can you, the two-string? Never mind, it's not that one.
Yes, you can, actually. Well, you can do even better.
Okay.
How far down this rabbit hole do we want to go?
All the way.
There's this fabulous book that you ought to, you're probably after this class ready for this book. It's a concept called design patterns. And there's several books you can get on it, but I happen to have read and like one called Ed First Design Patterns. Design patterns actually came from architecture and home decorating, that sort of field, where the architects would say, hey, if we want to, let's say, so a designer looks at a whole bunch of homes and goes, I'm kind of setting up the same environment in all these homes, because the homeowner said, I want one room that has tranquil